Today we are using the midterm set. So in this midterm set, we actually have two chapters. That is our bab 2 klasifikasi persamaan perikanan and also bab 3, 4, which is document and also buku catatan pertama. So because your midterm exam will be until your buku catatan pertama, so I will focus more on buku catatan pertama instead of bab 2. But of course, bab 2 is still a very important point that you guys will have to know lah. Because in bab 2, you learn of what change if let's say they give you major kerusi or even let's say give you penghawa dingin, you will know how to change it to the proper name that are like example perabot, lengkapan, and kenderaan and so on. All right. So I will just start from this page here, okay, to show you guys. This is the things that you need to prepare for today because for bab 3, we will be using calculator. You will have to calculate, okay, everything. So please get ready with yourself and as well as your pencil case, also calculator. So not to worry because the journal paper and as well as our buku tunai paper have been ready for you at the back while you do your exercise. So you guys don't have to get ready with any papers except that if you want to note down any extra information, you can go ahead and get yourself a piece of paper that you're not using anymore so you can scribble it down. Okay. All right. So let's begin with our class. All right. So I will start from klasifikasi first. Okay. So let's go to page number 3 of your seminar set. Page number 3. So for bab 2, I will actually split them into two sections, which is bab 2.1 and 2.2. So the 2.1 is actually the klasifikasi, while 2.2 is going to be the persamaan perikanan. So before you can start doing persamaan perikanan, yeah, you got to understand you have these 3 klasifikasi that is the main things inside your company, which is what you are seeing right now in the screen. Asset, liability, and also equity per millate. So you guys can note down there is such equation between the 3 of them. So asset must always equals to liability plus EP. So what is asset actually? So if you guys can see here, there is an explanation. Asset is equals to harta yang dimiliki oleh perniagaan. So I would just put down here that asset means valuables. Okay, assets means, hold on, yeah. Okay, valuables. So for our liability, okay, liability wise, liability means hutang, okay, hutang. But I'm sure that you guys can see it over here. Like if you want to, you can just write down that to outsiders. Debts to outsiders. Okay, yeah. Now, later on, as I'm explaining, if you have any confusion, you can just let me know in the chat. Please don't be shy because this is a free seminar. Doesn't harm you to ask me questions if you still don't get it, okay? All right, so we have asset as money, valuables, while liability is the debt to our outsiders. And for equity per millate, can you see the definition here? That is hutang perniagaan kepada orang sendiri. So how come we have such term orang sendiri? That is because we were never the pemilik, okay? Because there's this concept where students always misunderstand. People would think that when we do accounts, we are the pemilik. So no, we are not the pemilik. We are representing the perniagaan. So right now, as we record it as equity pemilik, what it meant is I am recording whatever money that the pemilik has brought in, and those money doesn't belong to us. Those money will eventually go back to our pemilik when he decided to close the shop. So that's why equity pemilik is considered hutang kepada orang sendiri. So I would just say, okay, the keyword here is pemilik. Anything regarding to pemilik, you will have to choose under the EP section. Okay, so A equals to L plus EP. So why does it have such an equation? So you need to understand because asset doesn't appear by itself. Asset came from what? Asset came from contributions. So imagine, okay, you want to start a business. What do you have to start from? Obviously, you have to start from money. So you as a pemilik would have to bring in money, which that will contribute to your equity pemilik because imagine yourself as a pemilik. Here will increase because you bring in money to the perniagaan. which is increasing the harta in your perniagaan. So then we have asset to increase at the same time. So imagine you bringing 5,000. Equity per minute here would have increased by 5,000 and asset also would have increased by 5,000. But here I want to say, okay, please don't have the thinking that, okay, this 5,000 must be just 5,000 as a whole. Maybe it can be separated into few different things, which our assets have asset bukan semasa, which also have asset semasa. So you as a per minute can choose to bring in 5,000 ringgit worth of different assets. So it's not necessary to be only money. It can also be in terms of items like what? Like sofas, or we say tables and chairs. So these are also considered as valuable because they have a price on it. So this is how asset and equity per minute works with each other, okay? So then we have this liability at the center. So is it necessary to have liability? I'll say at the beginning of your shop, okay, if you just begin with your perniagaan, it's not necessary to have liability. But as time goes by, you will realize that money actually is not quite enough. So what happens? I cannot come from my own pocket because I have limited resources. So where I get the money from? We will borrow it from outsiders, which I'm not talking about those illegal type, okay? We are talking mostly about bank. So we borrow it from a pihak bank, that's example, Maybank, Hongdong Bank, and that will become our debt. So as I borrow, you see, my hutang akan bertambah by how much? Example, I have borrowed a 20,000. So my hutang bertambah, but this hutang will contribute to where? Not to your equity per minute, because it's not brought in by your per minute, but into your asset, because what you're borrowing from the bank is now money. So asset juga akan bertambah. So now you get a concept actually why asset equals to liability plus equity per minute, because asset only appears whenever my per minute brought it in or borrow from outsiders. So this is the equation. A equals to L plus EP. It's very important because no matter which chapter you're doing in your form 4 and even form 5, you will still use the formula A equals to L plus EP. So you gotta memorize this like very well. Okay. Now we finished talking about the klasifikasi of ALEP and the definition already. Now we're going to go in depth into the items itself, which is the jenis asset, jenis liability, and also jenis equity per minute. So for asset, we have dua jenis that's called asset bukan semasa. In short, I call it ABS, and also asset semasa, AS. So even when your school teacher teach you, she will also not read it by full name because it's too long to be read out. So she will usually change it to what? Also the short form that I've written it now, ABS, AS, all right? So what's the difference between ABS and AS, yeah? The difference is how long will you keep it for? So for assets, they are all variables, but this variable will change in numbers. But for asset bukan semasa, it will hardly change because it is meant to use for more than a year. So what we say now is bukan semasa and semasa direct translate, not temporary, and this thing semasa is for temporary. That's why for the timeline, we will only keep it within a year. So if let's say I want it temporary, within a year. If I want it not for temporary, I will use it for more than a year until no specific time. All right. So we will just keep using until what? Until it spoils. Okay. So just like how you imagine in a business, right? Why the tables and chairs are so old, but they don't bother changing? Because it doesn't make any difference by changing the tables and stuff. We will use until it spoils. Only then it's worth to change to another set of new tables and chairs altogether. So ABS are barangan, okay? Harta in barangan form. Harta in barangan form. So barangan, we have actually two types of barangan only in the business altogether, right? Which is what? Barangan in terms of asset bukan semasa, which is the equipments we use in our store, okay? Just now what I said was major kerusi. Why is it so important? Because if I don't prepare tables or chairs, where am I going to put my computer? Okay, where is my customer going to sit on? So that's why we have to prepare all these, necessities things for your shop itself. So these are the barangan, the equipments you use inside the perniagaan, not for sale. All right. But if I say another form of barangan, that would be the items that you what we call as barang niaga. Okay, those are what we call as barang niaga. So altogether, your whole account syllabus only have 2 items. Okay, 2 items. That is either the group of aset bukan semasa that you see over here. Okay, either the group of ABS that you see over here or barang niaga, things that you sell. Example what? Yeah, okay, give you an example of the name. So let's say I open a store that's called Kedai Pakaian. So what do I sell? I actually sell clothes. So those are considered as my barang niaga. So I repeat again what I said earlier. In your whole account syllabus, you only have dua jenis barangan. The first type of barangan, asset bukan semasa, but not for sale. Only for usage of my company or maybe my shop. But another form of barangan would be your barang niaga, the things that you sell. Example, kedai pakaian. What do you sell? You sell baju, you sell seluar. So this is what is your barang niaga. All right, yeah. So let's go into asset bukan semasa. Now I will say, this is something that I really want to emphasize in class, even not just from my class here in seminar or even in my YouTube channel. I do the same thing. Okay, please memorize well your assets because they will be the majority of your questions. Every single question will ask about asset because a company cannot survive without any assets. Not just ABS, not just AS, both of them. So you need to memorize there is total of 7 types asset bukan semasa, 7 types of asset bukan semasa, and for asset semasa we will have 6 types. All right, so why do we bother memorizing the names here? So you guys can write down. Oh, no need to write down. I have already printed it out for you guys. Just underline or highlight the word butir. Okay, so all these that you memorize based on bab 2 will be later used in your bab 3 and bab 4 as a proper butir to explain whatever that is happening. So you guys see the example at the bottom? Contohnya, major that they ask for, you will not write it as major, but instead you will slot it under perabot. But what else will go under perabot? There's plenty of furnitures around your shop. So just now I said the best match is major dengan kerusi mah. So major kerusi is perabot. But what other things are considered perabot? You can also say rak pameran. Okay, rak pameran. Almari, which is our cupboard. So all these are furnitures you put under perabot. So what is the purpose of doing this? To change the name to a butir yang betul is to make your life easier. Can you imagine having so many different equipments in your shop? Every single one of them you will have to write as per their own name. By the time you being an accountant, you will have to record into a book and prepare a ledger or even let's say account for each and every one of them. Imagine you have 1,000 items and you don't bother slotting them into categories like this. Okay, what you will do, you will have like 1,000 of accounts to prepare and as well as no time to finish up all the accounts. So even let's say we prepare 10 accounts during exam, it's already very difficult for you guys. So however, you think about 1,000. That's why now we want to make the whole recording easier to slot things that are the same category into the same type of name. That is example, we say premise. Premise means a shop, okay, but it doesn't necessarily just a shop. It can also be a bangunan, okay, it can also be a bangunan, or even we say kedai, tanah. These are to be changed into premise. Now, but recently there is this trend, where the question actually written out as bangunan. Okay, the question actually write it out as bangunan. So here I am going to add on this term for you guys. If let's say the question told you that is a bangunan, you do not need to change it to premise unless it's a bab 2 question, because in bab 2 we are fixed into a table which is like a jadual. Okay, this jadual here that will have specific terms for each and every column. So of course premise and bangunan should be under the same name lah. That bangunan should be slot under premise. But nowadays for bab 3 and 4 they would like to change it to bangunan and also premise to be individual. So let's say if you see bangunan, just write them as it is by your bab 3 and your bab 4. Okay, all right, so let's just quickly go through the ABS. Okay, we have 7 types, which is the first one. Your shop is called premise. Lengkapan is fixtures, things that are fixed to the wall. Example, we have fan, we have aircon, we have lights, okay, lampu, kipas, penghawa dingin. These three are the common ones that they will come out for lengkapan, things that are fixed to the wall. But there's this thing, yeah, okay, because for lengkapan, I said lampu kipas, right? Okay, lampu kipas, right? So there's ones that they come up with kipas major. Okay, kipas major means it's a table fan, but can you put it under anywhere else? I said no. Just remember, because of the word kipas, I will just slot it under lengkapan, even though by then it's not stuck to the wall, but still it's a category for you to put in your kipas. So no matter how you place your kipas, kipas is considered lengkapan. All right. Now for kenderaan, I don't think that this one should be hard for you guys. Aha, should know what is kenderaan. Kenderaan is cars, vehicles. So any form of vehicles, okay, you say motorbike, you say bicycle, even bus is considered as kenderaan. But we don't go so complicated because the most that we have is van, lorry, or even just they will straight away say kenderaan or kereta. So they don't go until like aircraft or even bicycle, or don't have lah, okay. But I have seen they have mentioned about bikes before, which is the motorcycle. Okay, so if motorcycle also under kenderaan. Now, for alatan pejabat is the thing that most students will forget. So I keep asking every time when I teach in my normal class, I will make my students think about what to slot them under. So when you think about office, okay, now a bit hard lah because the big area, right? So we talk about on your office table. Can you guys have seen dramas before, right? Surely have seen dramas before. So on an office table, what do you see? So right now, okay, my office table is the computer I'm facing right now. So alatan pejabat will be one of it that is called computer. Okay, so computer, what else? Okay, maybe if I'm really in the office, I would have a printer on my table as well. So that's how the office works, right? Every single table will have their own computer, they will have a printer, and as well as sometimes they will have this kind of calculator and stuff like that. So I rarely see calculator coming out under alatan pejabat, but if they were to come up in a set together inside a document, which is our bab 3, okay, to come out with the computer, calculator, then you just slot them all together under alatan pejabat because yes, it's an office equipment. All right, yeah. Now for perabot, I've mentioned already lah. Perabot is meja, kerusi, almari ataupun rak pameran. Okay. Now last two, jentera and machine. Yeah, both of these are considered as machinery. But what's the difference here? I say jentera are heavy machineries that you guys can see sometimes on the road, which when your parents are driving, suddenly we just slow down. Why? Because there's a jentera blocking the way. Okay, they are driving very slowly because they're so heavy. So all these, yeah, jentera can only be seen at where? Construction sites. Okay, those that actually crane lah, that's what we call, okay, a crane that is also slotted under jentera. So jentera, don't worry because they won't change the name. It will only come out as jentera itself. So just remember, jentera is a form of ABS, something valuable to us because we spend money buying it and there's a price for it, okay? And even after I want to resell, I could still get the remainders. So it's not like I cannot get any returns at all. Imagine buying a car. Okay, why people would sell their car secondhand? Because there's still value left. So why not we can sell it and get back our money? That's why you can categorize ABS, yeah, as things that you use but very expensive. Okay, things that are expensive and you would not bother changing within the year unless it's spoiled because it will cost you a lot of money. So maybe you guys would think that our major kerusi so cheap. Why is it under ABS? So I say it's cheap if you buy only one unit of each. Imagine having like TTC. We have how many classes? We have around 100 classes. Okay, no lah. Okay, exaggerating. Okay, so let's say if we have 100 classes, every class will need about 30 chairs, 30 tables. Can you imagine you multiply by the number, how many tables and chairs are you going to get? So the amount of money that you're going to spend is so huge that you can't afford to change all together. Maybe you can change just one unit that's faulty, but that's all. Okay, so this is how your ABS works. It will be more than a year. All right, now we move on to asset semasa. Now, for asset semasa are things that you use for within a year, right? So it's not that you want to throw it away within a year, but you can't keep the item with you okay, keep the item or the value with you within that year itself. So example, I give you a imagination, okay. Right now, I'm handing you a piece of 10 ringgit note, okay, a 10 ringgit note. So you will be very happy because you get free money. But can you guarantee that you can keep this 10 ringgit for more than a year? The same 10 ringgit for more than a year. Not to say that I tell you, okay, please keep it for a year, so you purposely keep it. But I say, I just hand it to you and you can freely use it. But will you keep it for more than a year? No, because money can be used anytime. I can buy anything I want with the piece of money. So asset semester is this kind of concept. The value of it is not constant. Not that I lose it completely, but it will keep increasing and at the same time decrease. So asset semester keep changing within the year. That's why it's called semester. All right. So we have everything here in money form, except for one very special thing that is called inventory arcade. So you guys can go ahead and note down, inventory is actually a term to mention our barang niaga. But unfortunately, this is term inventory arcade is only going to be used in our bab 2, okay, which is the jadual. So later on, when we go to bab 3 and 4, there will be some slight changes on our barang niaga, which I will tell you guys as we go to that part lah, okay? All right, so asset semester, we have inventory arcade, that's a barang niaga. So that is the only barang. But why is it under asset semester then? You think barang niaga is the things that you sell. If you sell clothing, baju, okay, then will he keep it for more than a year? Now, obviously not, because barang niaga are things that help you generate cash flow, generate sales. So the moment I got it from my supplier, what is the first thing I want to do? Quickly put the price label and put it at my store. Make sure that it will sell within the week or within the month itself. So inventory arcade is the only barang niaga that is an exception that will be put under asset semester, because the value, okay, the quantity of it will change like very drastically. Okay, it can come in very quickly, go out very quickly. All right, so that's it. This is for inventory arcade. Now, for the rest, it's all in money form, except for one that is called account belum terima. Now, why is it that I say except for one? Yeah, because the rest of them are already with you. Okay. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Then you quickly pick up lah. Okay, no worries. We are currently at page number 2 already. Yeah, I'm just explaining about the assets. Yeah. Okay, come, let's continue. Yeah. So we talk about the account belum terima just now. Now, the reason why I say it's under asset semester, yeah, and why is it so special? Is because, do you see the back 2 words, belum terima? Now, this account belum terima are money that you haven't received yet, have yet to receive. But why do we put under asset semester? Okay, because this is what happens, yeah? Okay, so this is our store. Okay, this is our store. And this is a customer. Okay, so this is a customer. So I put like this, yeah, customer. So this is us, our store. So what happens now is, what is the relationship between us and our customer? You will first have to sell things to your customer, right? So the arrow goes like this. Okay, so go towards your customer. We have done a dual sell. Okay, but this sell have a special way to sell. Okay, we will sell to our customer in 2 ways, which is under secara tunai ataupun secara credit. Now, I believe all of you here have been in class, I mean for your school even, have been until bab 4 already, should be knowing the term jual ataupun beli, yeah? So us selling to our customer, but it's this special thing called secara credit. Okay, secara credit. But I don't want you guys to misunderstand, because this secara credit is considered as a kemudahan credit, which is a function for only the resellers. So right now, us is actually the supplier to our customer. These customers are also shops. Okay, so not just any regular customer can buy from you secara credit, because secara credit requires trust. So I have to get background check from this person. Okay, I have to go check on their company, making sure that they have the ability to pay me back before I officially do the draw secara credit. But because in accounts, right, actually we don't think so complicated at this point, because for Form 4 and Form 5 is considered the very basic. So we only need to touch the surface of it. That's why most school teachers or even us tuition, we don't go ahead and tell you when do you do draw secara credit. No, you just imagine it as any regular customer for now, because we don't care whether this customer is a regular customer or is it another reseller. Okay, so people who take stocks from us, as long as they buy from us, we can consider to sell secara credit. So this secara credit means that we allow them to take the stocks before they pay. All right, so draw secara credit, so this customer will actually berhutang kepada perniagaan. So this hutang means I haven't received from them. But why is it under asset semasa? Because you think at the moment they pay us, what will it become? It will either be in a bank form or a cash form. Tunai. So we will then convert it into another form of asset lah. But then for now, temporary, as I haven't received the money, I will record it as belum terima. As soon as I receive it, I will change it into bank ataupun tunai. So this account belum terima actually represents what? Account belum terima actually represents all the customers that have bought from us secara credit. So in short, we call it ABT. Alright, now let's move on to deposit, pelaburan, bank dengan tunai. Say deposit and pelaburan is very rare to come out, but if it does, just understand that deposit means the money that you pay, example, to TTC at the beginning of your tuition. So those people that doesn't come for TTC tuition, I'm not sure how many outsiders are there here, but if let's say you haven't joined tuition before, this is what you have to do. You actually have to pay a deposit, which is to ensure you don't just suddenly run away from your debts and stuff like that. So deposit is received, but we will pay them back afterwards. But now over here, right, we are not the person who received the deposit. We are the person who gave deposit. So probably I bought a service that I have to pay deposit for. Example, like we buy the Colway water machine. Yeah, Colway water machine. Yeah, actually renting it. So for you to rent it, they will ask for an amount of deposit to ensure that you don't spoil their items, but because you're just renting. So this deposit, yeah, we will pay to the supplier. And then after the service is finished, can I claim it back? Yes, that's why it's called a deposit. All right, so deposit is always under asset semasa. Okay, so as for pelaburan means investment lah. So bank and tunai, right? Just take note on the word bank lah, because sometimes they will just say check. You will have to change the word check into bank. Okay, please change the word check into bank. That is the proper butir for your bab 2, bab 3 dengan bab 4. Okay, so I have done explaining the most important part in your klasifikasi, that is the assets, and the rest of them are pretty simple because we have only like a few of them instead of 13 of assets. Okay, you see why I emphasize so much on it, because asset got 13 types of needs that you need to memorize. But for liability dengan equity per milik, liability only have 2 from each. Okay, 2 from each, and equity per milik we have 3. Okay, so let's look at liability. Now, liability means hutang kepada pihak luar lah. So I am having a debt, but this debt again short term, long term. That's why more than a year is called bukan semasa, less than a year is called semasa. So the contoh here we have is pinjaman, gadai janji. Liability semasa, we have account belum bayar dengan overdraft bank. So I will start from liability bukan semasa first. Now, bukan semasa is for huge amount. Okay, dari bank. So is it the same as here? I say no, it's not the same. This bank here that we are seeing is the bank account of our company, which inside is always in a positive value. But if you want to borrow from the bank, so it's not called bank anymore. I'm just trying to say where you borrow from, the source of it. So we are borrowing, it's called pinjaman, quite logical. Pinjam mah pinjaman. While gadai janji is another form of borrowings, but with cagaran. Okay, dengan cagaran. So what exactly is the meaning of cagaran? You guys can note down whatever I say, okay, as long as you're comfortable with it. So gadai janji dengan cagaran means the bank will have to check whether you have anything to be exchanged under the circumstances that you cannot pay back the loan. So you see sometimes, right, if the bank doesn't trust you enough, they will offer you a loan in the way of asking for an asset tetap. Okay, so what is an asset tetap? Let's see here. Asset bukan semasa, but not just any regular asset tetap, specifically premise, kenderaan. Okay, so usually the bank will look for these two types of asset tetap. So if you want to borrow money, but you don't have a valid, let's say your perniagaan is not earning a lot of money, but you want to borrow money, then the bank will tell you, do you have any cagaran to prove that you have the money to pay us back or not? So you will show them your premise, you will show them your kenderaan. But it's not just showing, okay? After you show, they will take it away from you as an exchange of the amount you borrow. So the moment you start borrowing, this is going to be your commitment already. You will have to pay them back regularly in order to not let them lelong your house away. I think you guys have heard the word lelong before, right? Okay, so that's how it works actually. If you want to borrow money in terms of gadai janji, the bank will have the rights to take away your kenderaan or even premise at any point of time if you fail to pay for your installment. So because every month you will have to pay back for your amount of gadai janji, so then they have the rights to lelong your house because it's under their ownership already the moment you decided to do gadai janji. But if you are able to pay back the entire period of time for the gadai janji, you will be able to claim back the items. So gadai janji is exchange lah. But if you say pinjaman, do we have such thing? No, pinjaman, they don't require you to give them any asset tetap. It's just a regular loan. So it depends on whether the bank allows you to borrow in this way or not lah. If you have a valid background, very trustable, everything credit is good, so they will borrow you straight away with the word pinjaman. But if they don't trust you enough, they want more proof that you have the money to pay back, then that will be under gadai janji. So they will base on cagaran, your asset tetap, and then judge how much money they want to borrow to you. All right. So why is there a star here, right? So the star, right, means that boleh menjadi like this, less than 1 year. Okay, so what is the meaning of less than 1 year? Yeah, means that if I want to borrow, that is a very small amount. Actually, pinjaman can also be paid back within 1 year time. So here I'm telling you guys that it should be under liability, bukan semasa. But if the question tells you that the timeline to pay back is within 12 months, then pinjaman and gadai janji can anytime become a liability semasa. I'll say it's not a part of concern yet because for your Form 4 chapters until Form 4 bab 6, we will not change pinjaman and gadai janji's position until you go to bab 7 dengan 8, 9 until Form 5. Then you will start to see the pattern of them testing you whether you know this pinjaman should be under liability bukan semasa or is it liability semasa. All right, so that's it for our LBS in short form. Okay, now for LS, do you see something very similar to the previous asset semasa term? The ones that we highlighted, account belum terima. Your liability semasa also have one that is called account belum bayar. Okay, so what exactly is this? Yeah, you look properly. Just now is belum terima means I haven't received it yet from my customer. But now this time is what? Belum bayar. Is it us haven't paid to customer? So obviously it's a different person right now. Okay, so I will be drawing the arrow down so you guys can write out. So we have us over here. Okay, us. And we have a stickman again. Now this stickman is our pembekal. You all know what is pembekal, right? Supplier. Okay, so the supplier now decided to sell to us, but in this special way that I mentioned earlier. sell, okay, sell to us is draw. But can I write draw? No, because we only look from our point of view. This is my shop. Of course, I record in my way. So I am currently buying from my pembekal. Okay, how are you buying? So we have this term called secara credit. So what does it mean by secara credit again? Yeah, if you say secara credit, which means that no payment was made. Okay, we were never paying yet until the specific time that they have set for me. So when I buy secara credit, what happens? I will berhutang kepada pembekal. So can you see, okay, how come just now the ABT, account belum terima, is not under L? L is hutang kepada orang luar. Is this our hutang? No, this is hutang pelanggan, which is my customer's debt. So why would I put it under liability? Because it's not my hutang, it's my money that to be received soon. But now, in terms of beli secara credit, you buy and you never pay. Obviously, now this is a hutang kepada orang luar already, because pembekal is not at all related to me lah. So that's why ABB, this is the short form, will increase as beli secara credit happens. As long as you buy and you never pay, this will happen. But if when you pay, what happens? Nothing much. Okay. If you pay, account belum bayar will just berkurang because it's all in all a hutang mah. So pay already, hutang berkurang, and it will affect your money to get lesser as well. So this is how you deal with your account belum bayar. Okay, so now overdraft bank. This overdraft bank, right, is actually a service given by the Pihak Bank one. So from last time when you guys join my tuition class, if let's say you are my students, okay, so you should know that I said that overdraft bank is in this way, we call it overspent. Okay, but not just any regular people can use this overdraft bank function. Yeah, you think that you have a debit card, you can go and overspend anytime you like? No, no such thing. Overdraft bank must be done by the shop, as in to go and apply for it. So it's considered as another form of kemudahan credit given by the bank to allow you to borrow a small amount of money within this period of time. So overdraft bank, yeah, is actually also a form of borrowings, okay? But what's the difference? The difference is overdraft bank would be within 5,000 ringgit or maybe 10,000. It will be a very small amount that the bank allow you to do so. And one thing about overdraft bank, yeah, is that it will always increase or decrease depending on the bank. So it's free for them to change the credit amount anytime. That's why overdraft bank, yeah, is also a form of borrowings that we actually overspend. Because you see, the term here is bank. Okay, the term is bank. So how do I know when to use overdraft bank? Is when your bank from positive suddenly fall to negative, and that is where we overspent already. And borrowing from the bank temporarily, that's called overdraft bank. Okay, yeah. So that's it for our liabilities klasifikasi. So now we're up to the last one already, which is the equity per million. So we were talking about EP equals to hutang kepada orang sendiri. Why? Because this is not my shop. This is my workplace. Okay, I'm working under this per million and I help to represent the business right now. So as your per million start the business, what will he do? Okay, there's an arrow here that he bawa masuk. That he bawa masuk. So what is the term for bawa masuk? Yeah, should know already by now that you guys are already in midterm exam, should know for your equity per million, yeah, guys. Bawa masuk is always gonna be this term, modal. Okay, every time. As long as per million bawa masuk or just the word bawa masuk. So why? The logic is, yeah, okay, no strangers would willingly bring in stuff for you for free. Of course, the only person that will bring in is your pemilik. That's why as long as you see bawa masuk, modal akan bertambah. That is the term. But modal will not decrease. Modal will only keep increasing. But what if your pemilik decided to take? Okay, that is another thing that you need to consider. If your pemilik were to take out from the perniagaan, ambil untuk sendiri, which is any form of self-usage. Okay, it can be for his daughter, for his son, for his family, or even for his own use. Okay, this is considered as ambilan. This is considered as ambilan. So ambilan, right, a bit more troublesome lah, because for model, right, whatever bawah masuk will be model. But if it's ambilan, it must be untuk kegunaan sendiri. Only under self-use we can choose the word ambilan, and this is where equity pemilik akan berkurang. So there's no in between. If you want a plus to your EP, there's only one term for it, that's called model. But if you want it to decrease, that's called ambilan. So this is how it works. If initially my pemilik have brought in a 50,000, and he decided to take 1,000 away, what happens here? Isn't it the remainder are 49,000? So this 49,000 is what we call as hutang kepada orang sendiri. When he bring in, I start to berhutang. But when he decided to take out, hutang kepada pemilik akan berkurang loh. So that is the amount that I have to return back to him by the time he wants to close the shop. That is your EP. Okay, now for contoh here, we have already covered both of them lah. Okay, model dengan ambilan. Just take note that ambilan must always come with a negative symbol. Okay, ambilan is always with the negative symbol. And for the last one is this one, untung bersih ataupun rugi bersih. So untung bersih I always write as UB, rugi bersih I write as RB. These two, I think obviously you guys know lah, we are having a perniagaan. Obviously we're gonna have untung, we're gonna have rugi, right? So whenever untung positive, that is the amount we have to give back to our pemilik, but not yet, because I still want to go on with my business. So all this will be recorded down so that by the time you really want to close after 10 years, I will know how much money I need to give back to the pemilik. So these are the recordings, okay? All right, so that's it for the most important 3 klasifikasi. Asset, liability dengan EP. So far our 1 hour is almost gone already. Every time the klasifikasi will take up so much time. So now let's quickly go into our belanja dengan hasil. Then we can start with persamaan perikanan already. Okay, so here, let's look at page number 3. Yeah? Now, hasil and belanja, I don't require my students to memorize at all one, because hasil and belanja are things that you see in your daily lives. Example, you will have to pay for utility bills. Like what? Bill air, bill electric, bill telephone. Isn't this a form of belanja? But just that here, yeah, okay, I want to say, they will ask for the hasil operasi. Hasil bukan operasi, only in paper 1. Okay, the operasi dengan bukan operasi is not at all important for your paper 2, but only for paper 1, the objective questions. Okay, so for operasi, we talk about hasil first, okay? Hasil operasi, there is only one, that is called jualan. You know why? If I ask you, what is the main goal of you opening your store? You will say, to earn money. But how you earn money? From sales. And that is the one and only reason why you want to operate your store. That is your hasil operasi. But when it comes to belanja operasi, it's so different because we have a list of them. Because why? Belanja operasi means the expenses that I have to pay in order for my shop to operate. You think that just by buying your stocks in, that is how you operate? No, you still have to pay for utility bills. That is like necessary. If you don't pay for it, you won't have lightings, you won't have aircon, you don't have fan to operate, okay? Then who would come into your store? Come in, feel sweaty, everything, and you can't even operate your computer. So belanja operasi will be always more than hasil operasi, because you see, every time we say, the amount we earn is always not going to be enough for the things that we want to spend on. So hasil will always be just one for operasi. But belanja operasi, plenty of them. Example, rental, sewa. Okay, kada bayaran is a term for bills. Okay, so kada bayaran is for bill, and you have bill, and we have promosi iklan. Now promosi is what? Yeah, you guys know, right? Promotion. So when we do promotion, it's a form of belanja because it's necessary to attract my customer using a flash sales. Okay, so flash sales means I cut off some of the prices. When it's supposed to 50 ringgit, I sell for 45 ringgit. So that is the promotion that I'm doing now. It's a form of belanja because I suffer losses from it. It was a 50 ringgit thing. I sell for 45 ringgit. Didn't I rugi a 5 ringgit from the sale? So that's why promosi is also a form of belanja operasi. Now, for the bukan operasi is things that are additional lah, which means that my shop will not die without it. Okay, example you see here. Hasil bukan operasi ya, what form? Dividend diterima. When will you receive dividend? When you actually invest. Okay, do pelaburan, only you will get dividend. So is it every store must do pelaburan? No, it's not necessary. So I don't get lah. Alright, what else? Untung atas jalan ABS. Okay, when you sell your ABS, sometimes the price will grow ma, like we say premise. You can sell for a higher price, so you earn more. But then sometimes it will also be rugi, and that is the only belanja bukan operasi. Okay, yeah. So I'm done explaining for all 5 klasifikasi already. So now let's go ahead and look into our persamaan perikanan table.